Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into the two titans of competitive debates, Asian Parliamentary and British Parliamentary. So whether you're a pro debater or just kind of curious about what it's all about, you are in the perfect place. We're going to cover everything from how the teams are set up to how the judges actually pick a winner. Let's get right into it.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll touch on the big why. The reason we debate in the first place. Then we'll get into the real nuts and bolts, the team structures, the specific jobs each speaker has, the rules about time and interruptions, and finally, how someone actually wins a round.
All right, let's kick things off with the most important question. Before we get lost in the weeds of formats and rules, why do we even bother debating? What's the point?
So, when you hear the word debate, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's just arguing, right? But it's so much more than that. At its heart, a debate is a structured discussion. It has rules in place to guarantee that every side gets a fair shot, to really dig into different points of view and land on a smarter conclusion. And this is exactly why it's so powerful. Look, the real goal isn't just about taking home a trophy. It's about sharpening your brain. You're building skills that will last a lifetime. Things like critical thinking, becoming a better public speaker, and having the confidence to look at any problem from all sides.
Okay, let's get practical. Moving on to Section 2, we're going to look at how this all plays out, starting with probably the biggest difference between AP and BP, how the teams are actually structured.
And here it is, plain and simple. In Asian Parliamentary, or AP, it's a classic two-team showdown. You've got a government team and an opposition team, and each one has 3 speakers. Pretty straightforward. But then you have British Parliamentary, or BP, and this is where it gets interesting. The room has 4 teams, each with 2 speakers. You get 2 teams arguing for the motion and 2 teams against it.
Now, this setup in BP adds this really cool, complex layer to the strategy. You're not just trying to beat the other side, you also have to outshine the other team on your own side. You literally have to prove that your arguments were better and more important than the other team that's supposed to be your partner. It's a whole other level of competition.
So as you can imagine, these totally different team setups lead to some really unique roles for each speaker. Let's dig into the special speeches that really define the strategy of each format.
So in AP, the whole debate wraps up with what's called a reply speech. This is a shorter, final speech where one of the speakers basically gets to be a biased judge for a few minutes. Their whole job is to frame the debate, point out the key moments, and make a final case to the real judges for why their team clearly won.
BP, though, doesn't have a reply speech at all. Instead, for the teams in the second half of the debate, their entire game depends on the extension. This has to be a totally new argument or a deeper analysis that the first team on their side didn't bring up. So, if you're in that closing half, you absolutely have to bring something new and important to the table. That's how you stand out and win.
All right, Section 4. Let's talk about the rules of the game itself, specifically how much time you get to prepare and how you can interact with your opponents while they're speaking.
And whoa, the difference here is huge. AP teams get a pretty comfortable 30 minutes to prep their entire case. But BP is an all-out sprint. You get just 15 minutes. That's it. And that crazy pressure is on purpose. It's designed to see how well you can think on your feet and build a great case in no time at all.
Now, one thing both formats do share is the point of information, or POI. Basically, this is your chance to stand up and offer a quick question or a comment while your opponent is giving their speech. It's a fantastic way to engage directly and show everyone just how quick-witted you are.
The rules for POIs are pretty simple. You can only offer one during the main part of a speech, so not in the first minute and not in the last minute. That's called protected time. And the speaker has all the power. They can accept your point or just wave you to sit down. But if they do take your point, you've got 15 seconds. Make it count.
So all the arguments have been made, all the speeches are done. How in the world does a judge pick a winner? That brings us to our last section, where we'll see that the two formats have very different ways of being judged.
This really shows the different philosophies, doesn't it? In AP, it's a clear win or loss decided by a simple majority vote from the judges. And they're often looking at 3 things: matter, which is your content, manner, your delivery style, and method, your overall structure. BP is more holistic. The judges talk it out to reach a consensus, and then they rank all 4 teams from first place down to 4th, based on who was the most persuasive overall.
And that ranking system is what determines how you do in a tournament. You can see here, in AP, a win gets you 1 point. That's it. But in BP, the points are staggered. First place gets 3 points, second gets 2, third gets 1, and fourth gets nothing. This means that even coming in second can be super valuable for moving on in the competition.
So, at the end of the day, whether you prefer the tight teamwork of AP or the chaotic, fast-paced action of BP, they both have the same mission. They are incredible training grounds for your mind, pushing you to think critically and, of course, to speak boldly.
So, which one sounds more like your style? No matter which one you choose, it's the skills you build along the way that really matter. Now you know the difference. The floor is yours.